Bolt Funding and how you could supercharge your business and your clients' businesses with Bolt Funding. So if you've been with Freedom Path for a while, you know actually we just spun off Freedom Funding into Bolt Funding, and we are getting better every single day, better, faster, quicker, higher approval amounts. And we're trying to keep this very, very simple to empower the ultimate end user, which is the business owner, with the funds that they need to succeed, and then to empower you, our brokers who are out here trying to have maximum impact in the lives and the financial well-being of your community. So Bolt Funding is your strategic growth partner. So when you're talking to people and they're like, hey, what do you do for Bolt Funding? You could tell them quite simply, I manage go-to-market strategies. I help businesses get funding. I've said this on a couple of calls. When people now in my personal life ask me, hey, Ryan, what do you do for a living? You know what my answer is? Does anyone know what my answer is? If you heard me say it, you might have put it in the chat if you know my answer. When someone says, Ryan, what do you do for a living? I respond and I tell them I sell money. Why do I say that? Because it's one heck of an icebreaker. The only icebreaker I know that's better is Fat Penguin. Fat Penguin will break an ice real quick. But if you just say, hey, I sell money, everybody wants to know what exactly that means. I sell money. I work with Bolt Funding. So whether you're a brand new startup business, whether you're established, whether you're somewhere in that growth mode, whether you're struggling, Bolt Funding has options for everybody. Bad credit, good credit, no credit, some credit, little bit of credit, a lot of bit of credit. Time in business, you just started your LLC 2 minutes ago, you started it 20 years ago, doesn't matter. We have options for everybody, but we operate Bolt Funding, and each one of you by proxy as a business loan originator operates with three primary goals. Number one, to access as much funding as someone is approvable for right now. Doesn't matter what the funding looks like. I don't care if it's 100% interest. We're going to give you all the options for what you qualify for right now. Then we're going to help you become bankable. We're going to help you build your credit, right? We got a product for that, a software. We just had a good leadership training call on that. We'll have another big company-wide training call on that, the Business Credit Academy. But the goal is to get people in a position to acquire largeable banker loans at lower rates, right? It's always get more for less, get more for less. So we're looking at a value proposition, excuse me, stair-stepping up. It's, hey, wherever you're at on your path right now, we can get you access to capital. If we can't, we'll help you get bankable. And then the ultimate goal for both people who got funding now and people that can't get funding is to get them bankable and get them access to larger limits and lower rates. And then we're going to rinse and repeat that every 90 days. Guys, I promise you the fortune is in the funding. When we start talking about some of the compensation, the commission on here, just really be paying attention and listening in, because I want you to understand how you can get paid and how you can monetize a client multiple times within their cycle of life inside of your portfolio. Again, so whether you're a startup or an established business, doesn't matter. We do real estate investment, DSCR, fix and flip, bridge, all of that. We have over 200 lenders at this point, guys. 200 lenders. That is crazy. We have private family trusts. We have large banks. We have in investment companies. We have some debt options. We have a multitude of SBA lenders. We have over 200 lenders that we're able to aggregate our applications and place them with those lenders after our proprietary AI platform has aligned and run what we call a fundability index matrix, right? So kind of here's how it works. Your customer applies. You shop them an application or you apply it on their behalf inside of your portal. Great. Our system is going to build them out a profile. Think Tinder, right? Here's my profile. My name's Ryan. I like long, windy walks on the beach and Italian ice cream. Oh, and I'm also a business owner. And here's the core financials of my business. Here's my personal credit. Here's how many trade lines I have open and reporting under my business. Fantastic. We have over 200 lenders now that our AI has been taught on. This is where the agentic AI piece comes in. And it matches based on a probability score of 0 to 100, the probability of a loan being approved with a particular lender, with a particular product. So it could be, okay, great. We can get this person qualified for Amazon. not Amazon, Amex, American Express, a blue line of credit. We could also get them approved for these credit cards. We could also get them approved for an SBA loan through New Tech. We could get them approved for a small business line of credit through Wells Fargo or Navy Federal or Capitus. Doesn't matter, right? Again, there's 200 lenders, but what our platform does and where it really shines is that agentic AI that builds that profile for the borrower and matches based on all of those data points to determine on a scale of 1 to 10, here's the fundability index score for this lender and this program at this lender. That is where the strength of BoltFunding and the technology comes in. And that's one of the most exciting things about being a funding partner with Freedom Path and Bolt, because you have access to that proprietary technology. It's not white labeled. It's not somebody else's. Nobody else has it. It's often duplicated or often replicated, but never truly duplicated. It is our technology, and it is better than anything else in the market. And it's only getting better with time, right? Just like if you're familiar with AI and how it works, large language learning model, if you're familiar with any LLM, as we continue to feed it tokens, which is what you feed and train an AI agent on, as you give it tokens, the data sets only get better and better and better and stronger. We're getting better and better and better every day here at Bolt. And with over 200 lenders and still growing, still in conversation with other lenders, it's a no-brainer why you are in the right place at the right time. So here's our commitments to not only our partners, but our clients: fast turnarounds. We do have same-day business funding available. We're going to talk about this because SBA and real estate deals can take 3 to 8 weeks, and we move as fast as your client does. It says you do, but we really move as fast as your client moves, okay? So do we have same-day funding available? Absolutely. Do we have things that'll be ready in 1 to 2 weeks? Yep, absolutely. Do we have things that take months? Yes, absolutely. So we're having conversations with our clients, and they're asking you, well, how long does it take? You're going to say one thing: it depends. And then they're going to say, it depends on what? It depends on what type of loan we're looking at, how fully underwritten it is, the credit and the financials, and how fast you can get the information back to us, right? We build out this core profile, but we need all of the data to share with the funding partners for them to make a decision. But our commitment is still fast turnarounds, and we will move as fast as the client moves. Our commitment is also straightforward information. No fluff, no jargon, simple, honest guidance to help you and your clients make smart decisions. Now, what does a smart decision look like? That's going to vary business by business. If you told me right now, hey, Ryan, I just got an offer for a short-term working capital loan at a 1.35 factor rate over the course of 6 months, they're going to give me 50 grand. Is that a good decision for me to take? You know what I would tell you? Nothing, because I can't tell you anything. I don't have the information. That's what the BoltFunding team does, right? Alex, Corey, Ignacio, Renzo, Michael, this team, they dive in and they look at the purported use of funds and what the potential return on investment is. If it doesn't make a good decision for your client and what their goals are, they'll let them know with straightforward information and real guidance. You and your clients are never alone. And that's one of the big key differentiators here. You're never alone. Somebody put in the chat, put a thumbs up or a fire emoji if you've talked to someone in the funding department in the last 90 days, right? They will constantly guide you through the platform and through the programs, and more importantly, your clients, to ensure that they're making the best decision for what they're trying to accomplish right then and there. And that leads us right into your role as a broker, because there's a lot of people on here saying, man, you know what? That sounds pretty in-depth and detailed. I don't know if I could do all that. You simply have one job. Your responsibility is to submit the application. That's it. Now, there are some touch points, and we'll go over that later on in this training, that would be beneficial for you to have contact or communication with your client. But at the end of the day, all you are is an application orchestrator. You are driving information into the platform and letting the platform do its job. Once that application's in, our team takes over. We're scrubbing the file. We're contacting the client. We're collecting supporting documents. We're shopping the deal. We're looking at the deal holistically from all different ways. So I've heard this several times. People are like, well, you know, I got this client and he wants to do X and I don't know what type of loan he should apply for. Guys, it really doesn't matter. Is there a little toggle? Yes. Commercial real estate, working capital. But our team and the platform are going to look at whatever that client can get approved for. We just had a very large SBA loan close for business acquisition, but we also stacked that with syndicated lines of credit so that he has immediate credit available for any cash flow issues that he may come across in the next 30, 60, 90 days as he uh, as he um, as he gets this new business that he just bought out, right? So he didn't apply for a syndicated line of credit, but we were able to stack it on there. Goal number one, if we go back a couple slides, goal number one is to get access to the most capital at the best terms that we can get approved for right now. Our team handles all of that. All you have to do is get the applications in. It's pretty simple, pretty simple. And we're incentivized, and so are you, but we really, at the end of the day, Bolt, are incentivized to secure the highest funding amount possible across all different product types because it benefits the client at the end of the day by getting them the capital that they need to do what they're trying to accomplish. And it benefits you as the broker and allowing you to build your business and supporting you financially to do so, right? Everybody's favorite radio station in the world is WIIFM. What is in it for me? At the end of the day, you need to be compensated and compensated very handsomely for what you're doing. You're out here having an impact and you're helping people. So we're incentivized at Bolt here to ensure that your clients are taken care of. They get the max amount of funding that they are eligible for right now, and that you are getting paid the max amount that is possible under the deal structure, right? So no follow-up, no client management, no chasing. You don't have to do any of that. BoltFunding handles all of that. Now, once you've gotten an application in, BoltFunding has handled everything. The technology has worked. We've run a fundability index score. We have a list of lenders and products and programs. We pitch it to the client. Client says, yep, I want the deal. Let's go. Client signs and they're funded. When do you get paid? And this is very important. Turn your ears on for a minute. Write this down. There's a difference between funded and finalized. Okay, I'm going to define this for you real fast. Funded means that client funds have been dispersed. Your client has money in his account, cards in his pocket, checks in his hand, and he's able to spend that money. You do not get paid when a deal is funded. You get paid when a deal is finalized. Why? Well, because we work with over 200 lenders, and different lenders have different payment schedules. You get paid every Friday on your commission for funding products. Once the deal has been fully funded, Bolt has received all commissionable revenue from all sources because some different types of programs have different funding sources, different revenue sources. We want to make sure that you're getting paid on all net revenue, right? Compensation plan says what? Somebody put in the chat what percentage you get paid as a direct funder. Go ahead, put it in there. Somebody know? I know somebody on here know. Let's see here. 40%. Yep. Kimberly, Dr. Cofer, Jay, Sheila, Tammy, Diana, everybody in here knows is 40%. Well, let's say hypothetically we did a syndicated line of credit where we got somebody approved for $100,000 across the syndication, but they had to pay down $30,000 in existing balances. There's revenue that comes from that pay down if they need to utilize what we call a bridge loan. Would you rather have your 40% of the net revenue off of the $100,000 in syndication, or would you rather have the 40% off of the net revenue off of the $100,000 in syndication plus the revenue from the $30,000 in bridge? So sometimes the timeline of expectations doesn't align. You're like, wow, my client just told me they got a deposit. I'm getting paid Friday. Not always the case. Some of our partners take up to 2 weeks to finalize everything, send it back to us into our accounts receivable and accounting department where they post it into the back office because there's so many variables here that we want to ensure that you're getting paid fairly and accurately. And we cannot finalize a deal on our end until all the accounting is done and we've received everything in, because oftentimes the revenue is going to come in a little bit different than what we're anticipating, whether it be higher or lower. Normally it's a nominal amount, like, oh, we were $200 under what they actually paid us on this deal. We were $300 over on what they paid us on this deal. We want it to be fair and equitable. So you get paid when your deal is finalized. Funds have been cleared and reconciled internally. Funding pending does not mean your payout is ready. Timing depends on the lender, product type, and payment method, right? How many of you on this call have had a syndicated line of credit get approved, and it takes 14 days for them to get funded and get access to capital, right? Once that happens, then we get the revenue split, and then it is finalized internally, and then you're paid. So let's just look at this by product type, right? Again, everybody wants to know what's in it for me. So same day business loans, also called working capital loans, also called merchant cash advances. While there are different loans inside of here, same day business loans are all going to be paid exactly like this. So it's a short-term working capital based on business revenue, usually funded within 24 to 48 hours, repaid daily or weekly, and in some instances, monthly if they have strong business financials and strong business credit. These loans go up to $4 million. It is purely a factor of revenue. These lenders that work with these types of programs are looking at cash flow, cash in, cash out, and how much you can repay on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. They will approve you based on revenue only. I have seen credit scores that start with threes, and this is not a joke, get approved because their business has taken off. They have strong revenues, consistent revenues, and they need access to capital. There's no one else that'll touch them with that bad of personal credit and with limited time in business and business credit. They can get working capital or merchant cash advance loans. So an example, $100,000 was funded. The commissionable revenue on that deal was 6%, so $6,000. You're going to make 40% of that. Broker commission, $2,400. Now, for those on this call that are in the business to build a brokerage, this is where this gets really cool. So if the broker commission was $2,400, well, that's your broker. You're the upline broker. You're going to earn what? 20, 10, 20%, depending on your rank, how long you've been with Freedom Path. You're going to earn a commission match, just like in real estate, right? If, let's say, and I'm just going to shoot a name out here, let's say Bob is a real estate agent, and I'm a real estate broker. Bob goes out and sells a house. I'm going to get paid when Bob sells a house. You have a very unique opportunity with Freedom Path, with the Bolt program specifically, but with all programs, to build a nationwide brokerage of people who are empowering business owners by giving them access to capital. And you're going to commission match that. So, but I digress. Your direct commission is going to be $2,400. Now, here's the timing factor on this and kind of how it works, right? 1 to 2 days for the lender to finalize funding once funds have been dispersed and released, 2 to 5 days for commissionable revenue to be released to Bolt and reconciled in 1 to 3 days, paid on the next Friday. So typical time to receive commission is going to be 7 to 14 business days from when your client gets the money in their account, when the deal is funded on this type of loan. Let's look at SBA loans. So, right, we do 504, we do Express, Patriot now should be added on there, 7A. SBA loans, if you're not familiar what it is, it's a government-backed term loan. When I say government-backed, really the easiest way to think about this is the government's big brother, right? Big brother's always watching. Big brother wants to take care of his people. Big brother also can co-sign. So if you're a little shaky, the bank is like, I don't know if I want to take this loan. The Small Business Administration will come in and co-guarantee that loan on your behalf, so the bank will give you money, right? So these go up to $350,000. This is actually wrong. That's just the 7A amount, and that's wrong too. But typically 2% of the funded amount is going to be eligible for commission. So let's look at this, right? $300 SBA loan. The commissionable revenue on this deal was $6,000. Exact same numbers as we saw before. But now let's look at the timing factors, and we'll see how the timing factors are different between SBA and working capital or same-day funding loans, right? So most deals are going to take 6 to 8 weeks. It's very important. We have people that come in and they're like, yeah, I got a deal and I get it. You guys are excited. They submit an application. Somebody submits an application for a business acquisition with an SBA guarantee. And 2-3 days later, the broker's blowing up Freedom or Bolt, and they're saying, hey, where's my commission? What's the status of this deal? Guys, have patience. Just like anything else to do with the federal government in our country at this time in our history, it takes a while. These are heavily underwritten. and it takes a while. So 6 to 8 weeks, guys, almost 2 months, you could be in underwriting. So 6 to 8 weeks, some can fast track, absolutely, but 6 to 8 weeks is kind of where we're seeing, and not just with us, with all SBA loans across the country. Now, it takes 3 to 7 days for the funds to be released. We'll call that funded, right? Once it's approved and everything, 3 to 7 days for the funds to hit your client's account. Now, the typical time to receive commission post funding is 1 to 3 weeks. So if it takes 3 to 7 days, the loan's approved, your client gets the money in 4 days, they're funded. It could take anywhere between 1 and 3 weeks after they funded for us to finalize the deal and post the commission. They take a while, but these loans can be incredibly lucrative and have some incredible substantial dollar amounts tied to them. I think to date, the largest SBA loan that we've done so far was a 504 for commercial real estate rehabilitation, and I believe it was somewhere in the ballpark of like 9 million. You could imagine the commission on that was very, very, very strong. So again, SBA, you're not going to get paid as fast, but it's a very good product and it's a very important product. So just know once the deal is funded, it's going to take 1 to 3 weeks to finalize for the commission to be ran. Once it's ran, you get it that next Friday, just like everything else. Business term loans, very, very simple. These are going to be like your traditional, like B of A, Chase, stuff like that. You got a regular business term loan, anywhere between 12 and 60 months repayment. Typically going to be between 3 and 8% of funding amount. Again, just depending on the partner. So let's look at this. $100,000 term loan. The commissionable revenue is $5,000. Broker commission is going to be about $2,000 on that. Once the client gets access to the funds, it's funded, and then for it to be finalized and for you to get paid, again, 1 to 3 weeks, simply because these are more traditional loans that take longer. Banks, just like the government, once you're at that size of scale, everything takes a little bit longer, right? So 1 to 3 weeks after your client's been funded for the deal to be finalized and for the commission to post. Equipment finance, about 1 to 4 weeks after disbursement, up to $5 million, 1 to 3% of the funded amount. Again, just depending on the asset class, whether it be like servers or whether it be manufacturing equipment or heavy equipment or technology. We're doing actually quite a bit of technology and equipment financing right now. 1 to 3%. Once the disbursement has been made to the manufacturer, reseller, distributor, these work a little bit different. Your client's going to come with an invoice. That invoice is going to be for, let's say they want to buy, I don't know, a backhoe, right? Okay, here, I need a $300,000 backhoe. Can you get me funding for this? Yes, absolutely we can. We're going to collateralize the backhoe. Well, the funding partner is, and then those funds will be dispersed directly to the person that's selling the backhoe. Your client will then go pick up their backhoe, right? Once the funds have been dispersed to the dealer or manufacturer, 1 to 4 weeks post funding and disbursement for the deal to be finalized. Okay. Real estate investment loans, these go a little bit faster. These are going to be your fix and flips, rentals, bridge, construction, DSCR, etc. These pay a decent amount of change. I love these. Everybody wants to be a real estate investor. They're very easy to talk about, super fast to fund. They don't really care too much about your credit. You do got to be like a 650, 660 minimum, but you don't have to have everything that you would need to traditionally buy a house or a property. Oftentimes, they're not going to look at your personal revenue or not revenue, I'm sorry, your personal income or global debt service coverage. They're simply going to look at the property's debt service coverage. So on a $750,000 booked real estate investment deal, on a 1 to 4% spread on the funded amount, we could anticipate about $15,000 in commissionable revenue. Broker commission is going to be $6,000 on that, guys. Massive. And then what happens, right? Our compensation plan pays up to 100% commission match into the upline brokerage. So on a $15,000 deal at a $6,000 commission, and then with the 100% commission match, we're paying $12,000 in commission on $15,000 of revenue. No one pays like we pay, guys. Everyone's getting paid, everyone's earning. And again, these real estate investment loans are just an incredible product to talk about. We'll go over them here in a little bit. But now, once the transaction has closed and been funded, so a transference of real property has commenced, right? There was a title signing, X and Y and Z. Your client now owns their investment property. It's going to take 1 to 3 weeks post closing for the deal to be finalized and reconciled, and for the commission to be paid. Right? Again, Freedom or BoltFunding goes on a HUD statement for these deals. It's got to go through title. It's a process, but these have the incredible capacity to make a big difference in your monthly income. And they're such an easy conversation to have because everybody wants to talk about real estate. And I still contend to this very moment in time today that real estate is one of the best vehicles to accumulate wealth. So real estate investment loans, we're absolutely crushing in right now. Let's look at commercial real estate loans. Very similar, but these are going to be your long-term financing for multifamily. Over 10 doors typically will take it from REI to CRE, office, retail, industrial properties. Very big loans typically, guys. These commercial real estate deals are large. They take a while. They're going to take a while. They're typically going to be fully underwritten. Up to $10 million is our capacity inside of the BoltFunding family right now. Typically 1 to 3% of the funded amount is going to be commissionable revenue. So on $1 million funded deal, commissionable revenue, $20,000, broker commission 40%, $8,000. Again, once that transference of property has actually gone down and the deal is funded, it goes into reconciliation and becomes finalized. That typically takes about 2 to 4 weeks for all the reconciliation to be done for you to get paid out on. Now, this is very important for you guys to know and understand, because I don't want anyone saying, wow, I just booked this deal, my client just bought this property, or my client just got this this loan, or this SBA loan, or got a syndicated lines of credit, and I'm going to get paid this Friday. Not everything works that fast. So it's very important that you understand, right? Same with construction loans, typically 2 to 4 weeks after the first disbursement. That is a little bit different, right? Because construction loans will oftentimes have planning and budgeting requirements where the funder is going to have to see the plans for construction, and they're not going to give all the money up front out to the client. It's going to be done in phases, right? Phase 1 is this, phase 2 is this, phase 3 is this. You will get paid off of the total amount funded if it's a $2.5 million deal after that first disbursement has been given to the client. So let's say we have a $2.5 million construction loan. The disbursement is going to be $750,000 quarterly until we hit to the net funded amount. We're going to get paid on the 2.5 once that deal has been funded and the first disbursement has been released to the client. So it typically takes about 2 to 4 weeks. Now, some other funding products that we offer: inventory loans, hybrid funding programs. Again, our platform is built to automatically look holistically at a 360-degree sphere of the business's entire financial situation to identify not just which products, but which partners we could stick them with. So you might have someone that comes in looking for an SBA, but they also get approved for a working capital loan and a syndicated line of credit. You might have someone that comes in for syndicated line of credit, and the system determines, hey, this is actually a good probability, 70% or higher fundability index score for an SBA loan, for a 7A, for a Patriot Express. Bolt representatives will automatically go through the process of getting soft or pre-approvals on those and telling your clients, hey, I know you looked for X, but we could get you X, we could get you Y, and we could get you Z, right? So there's a lot of hybrid funding programs out there, and we also have access to a lot of niche lending solutions. Each product and lender is going to have a little bit different structure, but the same principles apply. We're going to continue to work hard to close every single deal and pay you as fast as possible. But not all of these programs are, I wouldn't even say, they're not even similar, right? There's so many different programs. You're going to get paid a lot faster on a term loan, working capital loan, or an MCA than you will an SBA, just by factor of the difference in the program, right? Same day or fully underwritten. So just bear in mind and make sure that you're checking in your back office and following along with deal notes. It's pretty simple. So commission tracking and support, log into your broker back office, view deal updates and payoff statuses. You'll receive a recap deal for recap email rather for every funded deal. Now, if something is off or you have questions, just send an email, right? funding@fundedbybolt.com. Very, very simple. And a member of the team will get back to you, answer any questions. As soon as you send that email in, it opens a ticket with your email address. So any future correspondence until the ticket has been closed in our internal system by our support team or funding agents, excuse me, guys, they will automatically aggregate in our ticket system to you in that same conversation. So very, very important, though. Just access your back office. I would say 70% of emails that the support team is getting right now for Bolt specifically, the answers to the questions being asked are already in the back office in the notes. Read through them, right? So we touched on the commissions. We've touched on what we do, how we do it. Let's talk about very quickly here some of the pros and cons of the different program types. So same day business funding, very, very fast and flexible working capital. Again, I talked about this. It is based purely on the cash flow, not credit, not business credit. Now, when I say it is based off of that, does that mean, and someone let me know in the chat, do you think for same day business funding, term loan working capital, MCA, do they still pull business and personal credit, at least a soft pull? Yes or no in the chat? Let me know. Oh, I am way off here. Diana Maria, yes, you're absolutely right. Guys, they're still going to pull. Why are they still pulling credit if it's based off of cash flow? Number one, risk mitigation, right? You have a lot of these, when it's the same day funding, the record keeping doesn't always get updated that quick. So if there's a UCC filing or you have someone that's doing something fraudulent where they're like, hey, I have this business, I have really great revenue right now, but I'm in the middle of a divorce and my wife's going to take, or my husband's going to take, or X or Y or Z is going to happen to this business, I'm going to cash out now. They'll go and just stack as many of these as possible. So without pulling personal and business credit to ensure that A, there's nothing been recently done, and B, oftentimes also they're going to have to do bank verification right before or at the time of funding to ensure there aren't other incoming deposits from other lenders, right? They're still going to make sure that that person that your client says they are them, that there's no fraud, that they're eligible to be lent to, they're not on an OFAC sanction list or something like that. Funding is typically within 24, sometimes 48 hours, business hours. If you got an application in right now, it's not going to close till Monday, just the nature of the beast. Repayment is automatically deducted on these, either daily or weekly, and I did say earlier, sometimes monthly. Why this is important and why this is a good program for you to be aware of, most small businesses do not qualify for traditional bank loans. It is so difficult. There's a reason why over 80% of business applications in the United States right now are turned down. Most banks don't even pass core corporate compliance. Now, here at Freedom Path, we have a tool to help people through that process. That tool is called the Business Credit Academy. It walks them through step by step, building out a complete and robust and compliant business credit profile. But over 80% of 80% of businesses in the United States do not qualify as they sit right now. So if we're looking at this objectively, we put our businessman hats on and we're saying, okay, let's identify our TAM. Does anybody know what TAM is in business? TAM? Anybody? Let's identify our total addressable market, right? How many people out there right now need help? How many people out there right now are in our total market that we can go to and we can help? Guys, over 80% of small and micro businesses in the United States right now. That is a lot. That is millions and millions and millions of people that need your help. Either need your help to get funding or they need your help to become bankable. As a Freedom Path broker, you have all of the tools in your toolbox to help, because banks are requiring, and it's getting very tight out there. I promise, I'm in the capital markets all day. Banks are requiring perfect credit, tax returns. Like it used to be like, okay, I haven't done my taxes for 24 yet. Um, I could just give you this extension letter. Banks now are just like, no, we're not taking the risk. No, we need them filed, right? Or even 2 years ago, like we actually just had someone that hadn't filed their taxes in like 5 years. They're not bankable. These same day funding, business working capital, merchant cash advance, term options, they don't care. They're not looking at that. Unless you get to like over, typically it's going to be about $150,000 in ask. If your client's saying, hey, I want 300 grand, okay, then they're going to ask for tax returns. But if they ask for tax returns, these lenders that offer these same day funding, working capital, term loans, they're going to say, okay, yeah, that's fine. As long as you have an extension, that's great. So this fills a funding gap, right? Helps cover payroll, takes advantage of inventory deals and other opportunities of economy. So maybe someone wants to buy a business partner out. These are great tools. Now, typically, just because of the nature of the program, these are going to be higher cost, but they can be refinanced. There's a lot of other options, and Bolt Funding Advisors will walk your clients through all of the options available. So it's for businesses with strong, consistent cash flow, okay? Those needing fast access to capital. Approval in a couple hours, up to $4 million, funded in 1 to 3 days, no hard credit check, no collateral. These are unsecured. Payments are automatically debited. And the basic qualifications are this, right? Well, zero in on the bottom right-hand corner. Basic qualifications, $10,000 cash in every month in monthly revenue for the last 3 months. At least 3 months in business. Over 2 is better, but if they just started and they're on a gold mine, and they're on a hot run, great, we can get them done. 2 years time in business is what they like to see. 3 months is the minimum. Has to be a U.S. business bank account, not a business bank account at a U.S. bank. It has to be a business bank account at a bank in the United States. Cannot be a DBA, sole proprietor. Cannot be Ryan doing business as Ryan's Cookie Shop. That's not a business bank account. That's a sole proprietor account. That's not going to fly. Has to be a legal entity, LLC, corp, doesn't matter, right? No open bankruptcies. They cannot be in the middle of an open personal bankruptcy. These deals are all typically going to come with the factor rate. And this is something that's very important. We get this question all the time. What's the interest rate? This doesn't have an interest rate. It has a factor rate, a money factor, right? So a money factor of 130 means that you'll repay $13,000 on $10,000 if you take the entire term to pay it. The reason why it is not an interest rate and it's a factor rate is because more often than not, these deals are not going to extend past 12 months. They can, but more often than not, they won't. And it's very hard to annualize interest on a deal that is only 6 months, right? Or 8 months. These are short-term bridge loans. They really have a very impactful meaning for small businesses right now. So you'll see here some common reasons for denials and a little bit of what the process looks like. Very, very simple. Submit the bank statements. The statements are reviewed, scrubbed. That's, again, Agentic AI. Lender match, Agentic AI. Offer presented after the lender match has been completed. And we've got a final call back to the platform. And then once they accept the offer, they'll sign the documents, all digital, go into bank verification, and the funding will be released. Very simple. Syndicated line of credit, awesome program, number one program right now. Doesn't matter if someone has a business for 10 years or 10 minutes. If they have over a 680 personal credit score, we could get them into syndication. A lot of other companies do things similar. You might have heard the term credit card stacking, right? Syndicated lines of credit does that. There are traditional lines of credit programs that are in this SLOC as well. But mostly what you're going to see is access to unsecured business credit cards. So the big question is, okay, well then why would my client just not go out and apply themselves? Because they don't know what they're doing. It will result in a ton of inquiries. It'll hurt them and they'll get a bunch of denials. Our system is able to match based on the credit what lender is going to give them the highest amount. Okay. And we're able to syndicate that. So your client might go out and apply for 4 business credit cards and 1 business line of credit and get 2 business credit cards for $10,000 each and get 3 turndowns. We will do the same thing, but because we have over 244 different products and lenders in our syndicated line of credit portfolio alone, we're able to say, okay, well, this person has a 688 Equifax, but a 734 Experian, and we know based on the zip code of the applicant that this bank, we'll call it ABC Bank, is going to pull Experian and not Equifax. So we're going to get a higher approval limit here, right? We go through all of that. It's all done through agentic AI. You don't have to know any of this, but this is such a good product because it doesn't matter. And everyone out there wants startup capital. You could be in business for 10 minutes. You could be having a conversation with someone. They're like, man, I got a really good idea for a business. If only I could get some capital. Well, that's when you need to tell them, you know what I do for a living? I sell money. I have access to unsecured capital for startups. Let's have a conversation about it. Okay, great. What do I need? I need a 680 credit score. My credit's not there. That's not a problem. Guess what? I can help you with that as well. Put them in the program. Get them into BCA as well so you can start building out some business-only credit. Syndicated line of credit, number one performing product in the entire Bolt portfolio. Okay, benefits, 0% interest, typically anywhere from 9 to 24 months. Up to 250,000 is where we're seeing it fall right now. That could actually go a little bit higher. We had someone approach going a little bit higher here recently. What they're looking at is comparable credit. Okay, so if you have a 680, but you have $100,000 in personal unsecured credit on your personal credit profile, we could easily get you 200, maybe 250, maybe even a little bit more with a 680. Okay, the score is just a starting point for the banks. What they're looking for is what's actually on the report. We had someone who was a 714 FICO version 8, and she got declined for syndicated line of credit. Why? Because she had $2,500 open Discover card that she's had open for 10 years, never asked for an increase. The bank's looking at it like, okay, well, she's done very good at managing $2,500. I'm not going to give her 80 grand. It's just not going to happen, right? There's levels to this. And that's really why syndicated lines of credit are such a very powerful tool, because we can get your client approved for 70 grand right now. And in the next 6 months, that 70,000 can 100%, as long as they manage it properly, turn into 150. Right? Syndicated lines of credit, the strongest, best platform or best product that we have in BoltFunding right now, and typically very, very quick. Right? If they have pay downs, we have bridge loans available. There's a lot of advanced strategies to qualify. So if the advanced credit utilization is too high, like I said, they're looking for 25% or under, but we could help. We have short-term bridge loans available, allowing people to access larger credit lines, even if they're maxed out right now. Now, this is very important to understand too. Let's say you have someone that's already started a business, or they're in the process right now and they're maxing out their personal credit. What happens when you max out your personal credit? Anyone? Someone put in the chat. What happens when you max out your personal credit? Drops your score. Absolutely right. It drops your score. Okay, so when your score drops, now you find yourself in this predicament. What if you want to buy a new house? What if your car breaks down and you want to trade it in, right? Well, now like you're overutilized. You're over leveraged on the personal side. We have the ability with our bridge partners to come in. Let's say you have $50,000 in debt on your personal credit. We'll come in. We will eliminate we'll pay off all $50,000 of that to something that does not report to personal. That's a bridge loan for business. So it's going to remove all that, show that you have zero utilization. We're going to then rapid rescore, just like we do in the mortgage industry. Hey, you write a letter, it says, hey, the balance is reporting wrong. Here's a letter, it says it's paid off. Rapid rescore, the score jumps up. We get all this unsecured business credit, and then you pay off the bridge with the unsecured business credit. So you're going to have more business credit available. Your personal credit has now been improved drastically because you're not over leveraged and utilized. So there's a lot of advanced strategies here, guys. Again, you don't have to know all this, but knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is 100% power. What's your job? Your job is to tell people that you sell money and to get the application in. Our system and our team walks them through all of this, and you're going to get paid on all of it. All right. So here's the fee structure, kind of how it works, common reasons for denials, but I'm just going to focus on the funding process here. It's a soft credit pull. Soft credit pull, application approval. Now, application, there will be hard credit pulls, and that is outlined in the syndication agreement that the client signs. Now, from application, approval, line issued, typically is going to take anywhere between 7 and 14 business days for them to get access to the line, whether it be through check, whether it be through card, or whether they go through our process where we actually will draw down on those lines and liquidate and give them cash for all of it. So optional cash conversion here as well. SBA loans, we talked about this, why it's great. I mean, 7A, 504, Express, Patriot. Again, these are just traditional business loans that the Small Business Administration has co-signed on your behalf. Here's what it's for. It's best for established businesses with solid credit and documentation of where they want to expand, refinance existing debt, purchase equipment, or boost working capital without high monthly payments. Up to $350,000 in funding. That is wrong. That is dead wrong. That's on a 7A only. On 504, I believe it's $5 million max, but that actually, I believe, has been increased for manufacturers as part of this current administration's push to bring manufacturing back to the States. But it's a little outdated on that one. 10 to 25-year terms, monthly payments for predictable cash flow, covers almost any business-related purpose. Basic qualifications, 2 years time in business, 680 personal FICO score, at least $25,000 in monthly cash in or revenue, no bankruptcies or foreclosures in the past 3 years. Important things to know, it is very document heavy. It is fully underwritten. It takes some time. From the full application, then all financials have to be submitted over to the partner bank. Goes into underwriting. Goes into underwriting and then gets approved and then is closed at the SBA and then funding is released. It is a lengthy time, but it is a very viable program. We're seeing a lot of SBA loan applications come in now for new business acquisition, right? How many of you knew that if you had a 680 credit score above, and you could come up with 10, 20% cash down, that you could go to any business broker, someone who sells businesses in the country, and say, hey, I want to buy a business. And as long as it cash flows, you put your 10% down, you could go and get an SBA loan to buy that business with 10, 20% down. And then guess what? Now you just took out a loan on an income producing asset, a business that's going to give you a check every single month and cover its debt. We're seeing a lot of that right now. It's just an incredible time where you have a lot of people who started businesses that are now looking to retire. They're aging out, and the new generation is very savvy on how to utilize business credit. So SBA is very, very good for that. Business term loans is exactly what it sounds like. It's a term loan, anywhere between 12 months and 60 months. You pay monthly. Up to $1 million. Again, 1 year time in business, 600 personal FICO score, not 660. We do have some bad credit options on business term loans. The worse the credit, the higher the risk. The higher the risk, the higher the repayment, right? Very easy to understand. People are not going to be able to come in here with a 600 credit score and get a 5-year term loan for, I don't know, $500,000 at 6%. It does not exist. I promise it does not exist. So again, we want strong candidates here. It's very simple. Submit the application. It's going to go into credit and revenue review. Offers will then be presented. Our system handles all of that. Agreement signed, funds dispersed. Very, very simple. Real estate loans, we talked about these a little bit earlier, but I am going to run through them because these are important for you guys to understand that we offer these, right? So fix and flip loans are used for buying and renovating distressed or undervalued properties and then selling them for profit, right? I'm going to buy a beat up house, I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to flip it. Up to 90% loan to cost or 75% ARV, which is after repair value, the estimated appraised value of the property after the renovations have been done. Anywhere up to 18 months, ideal for experienced or first-time flippers. We do have first-time flippers and first-time construction loans available through our real estate investment. DSCR, these are going to be your buy and holds, right? Buy and holds. I want to buy a rental property. They are going to look at your credit. They're going to be 30 years long, traditional mortgage in the name of a business only, no personal income verification required. This is where it's different. They're going to pull comps for rents in the neighborhood where the house that you're trying to acquire is, and they're going to say, okay, well, people are renting properties of this size and comparable houses for $2,500 a month, and your payment's only going to be $1,800. It cash flows. That's great. Sometimes, specifically if you are not a established or well-seasoned investor, you haven't done a lot of these, they will require anywhere between 3 to 6 months of the monthly payment in reserves in case your tenant stops paying, in case an AC breaks, something like that. Construction loans used for ground-up builds or major rehabs that require stage funding draws. We do have a first-time construction loan available inside of Bolt. For that, though, it is important that they know that they do have to own dirt. Ground up means that they have to own the dirt. So ensure that they own the dirt. It does seem like somebody here is getting some feedback, so I'm just going to mute everybody here real quickly if I can. Here with me, guys. There we go. All right, let's go right back into this. So construction loans, really, really, really awesome program. And again, you can have a first-time builder, but they do have to own the land, ground up. Bridge loans, temporary financing to bridge the gap between buying a property and securing long-term funding, right? So hypothetical, we have a lot of our wholesalers and stuff that use this. Somebody is unmuted. If you could mute, please. Thank you. I just muted everybody, but it looks like they unmuted. There we go. All right. So bridge loans close very, very quick, interest only, right? So this is just something to get from point A to point B, right? We're waiting for the sale of a property. What is happening here? Anyways, guys, I apologize. I know that you guys have been on this call for a while now, so we're going to continue just going right through it. Commercial real estate loans, we talked about these earlier, but loan amounts up to $10 million. If you have someone that wants to buy a building, a warehouse, something like that, rates and terms are going to depend on the property type, income, and the borrower profile. DSCR based, so debt service coverage ratios, what DSCR means again. So they're going to look at what the potential revenue from the product will bring in. So maybe you have someone that wants to buy an office building, they're going to rent it out, turn it into a medical plaza, etc. These deals take a while, but they're very, very, very lucrative. 660 or higher FICO is going to be required. Strong equity position or down payment will be required. Insufficient equity or down payment is going to be a reason for denial. Property's not zoned correctly. We've seen that quite a bit where someone's like, hey, I'm going to buy this house and turn it into this business. It just doesn't work like that. 5 days to over 90 days, sometimes 120 even. I think that needs to be updated. Like we've seen these go 4 or 5 months for larger deals. Funding process is very similar though. Submit the deal information. It goes into credit review. Our platform is going to build out the profile and match it up. There will be an appraisal if required. It'll go in for approval, closing, funding, and then at that stage, it'll be finalized. And once it's finalized, that's when you will get paid. So I'm going to do this here. Perfect. Commercial real estate loans. So we've talked about this with each and every one of the products and programs individually, but let's just go right back to this for a brief moment, because now we've seen all these different products and all these different programs. Well, the process for all of them is very similar, right? This is what we need from you. As a loan originator with BoltFunding, you have a simple job. Submit the application. Now, most of our programs require 3 last months of business bank statements and an estimated FICO score. From there, our system will build. Now, sometimes we'll need 4 or 5, or sometimes, depending on the product, we'll require full financials. But in the beginning, we're going to have a FICO estimate right on the application, and we need 3 months bank statements for the system to even determine what types of programs your borrower qualifies for. That's where the initial review and pre-qualification begins, once we have those 3 months bank statements and a completed application. So this is important because some people have submitted emails saying, hey, My client submitted a loan application 2 months ago and hasn't heard anything back. Okay, they submitted the application 2 months ago, but we just got the documents, the 3 months bank statements, 3 days ago. It doesn't work like that. The process doesn't start until we have the documents in. Then they go in for initial review and pre-qualification, goes into our lender matching system. The lender matching system will post via API and sometimes a manual process, depends on the partner, and then we'll start receiving offers back. Once the offer has been received, they're disseminated to the client. The client accepts or denies, but typically they accept, goes into final verifications. The funding is sent, and that is it. Okay, it's a very similar process across all different products. The process doesn't change. The time it takes to complete the process is the variable. So, important things to note, SLOC is not same day funding. You get an approval oftentimes that same day, but it's going to take it says 7 to 10. It's really 7 to 14 days to receive access to the capital. We handle everything, all the UCCs, everything, the underwriting. We even communicate with your clients. All you have to do is aggregate the application and have the conversations. You do not need to call for updates. You should probably create support tickets by emailing funding@fundedbybolt.com or check your back office portal. If it is an emergency, obviously you could call in for an update. Every time you submit an application, if you submit an application, you know this, your clients are getting text messages and they're communicating with our team via SMS. And oftentimes, more often than not, you're being copied on that communication chain. So you're good to go there. Once the deal is booked, the final recap is sent and the deal is finalized, and that is when you get paid. Now, there's a lot of restricted industry, so I want to save you guys time and effort and energy. Adult entertainment, strip clubs, OnlyFans, promotions, stuff like that doesn't fly. No one's touching it. Betting or gambling operations, don't touch it. Anything that is governed by the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, don't touch it. Cannabis or THC, don't touch it. Payday lending and other forms of lending, don't touch it. And obviously, but it has to be on here, illegal or unlicensed businesses. We actually had someone who had applied and they had a business where they made a bunch of custom clothing, and a lot of this clothing actually infringed upon the intellectual property of other companies. They got approved. The lender wanted to see pictures of the inventory and saw a bunch of fake Gucci stuff and a bunch of fake Disney stuff. That doesn't fly, guys. Now, these we may be able to fund, but they're different, or they're difficult, rather. Nutraceuticals and supplements, e-commerce, drop shipping, they have to have good credit. They're also going to have good revenue. Real estate syndications or investment clubs, no, we cannot lend to those. We can do real estate investment, but not syndications where multiple people are participating, or investment clubs. Multi-level marketing, evaluated on a case-by-case basis. It is a restricted industry. Cryptocurrency related businesses are possible. We could possibly help that. Political, religious, or donation based fundraising platforms. We do church financing. So these ones are maybes. The last ones were hard no's. These were absolute maybes. Yep, we might be able to. It's a case by case basis. Product specific restrictions you need to be aware of. SBA loans cannot be used for anything with ongoing litigation at all. If someone has an open lawsuit against their business, the SBA will run fast and far. Revenue-based loans are a lot more flexible, but they will still exclude high-risk verticals like adult entertainment and unlicensed finance. We're actually seeing quite a bit of lawyer restriction in revenue-based loans simply because the revenue is not consistent. Real estate loans, the property has to be zoned properly, right? You cannot use a real estate investment DSCR to acquire commercial property, just as you cannot utilize a CRE loan to acquire a rental property. So, excuse me, all of this information, guys, is in your back office. So if you have questions before submitting a deal, check lender and product and program specific notes in your back office. Our lender matrix, the Excel file that's back there, will help you confirm your client's eligibility one way or the other. So make sure that you're doing just a little bit of due diligence. Again, all you need to do is send the application in. But if you're trying to get someone funded for, their gentleman's club that also serves and sells cannabis, just know that it's not going to fly, right? Required documents, we already went over this. It's very simple, guys. 3 most recent business bank statements, an estimate of the FICO score. Soft credit pull is usually enough, but we still need your client to put on there what their estimate is. If they don't know, they don't know, but put it on there. We try to limit a hard inquiry from Bolt at every step of the way, because inquiries do what? Inquiries increase the likelihood of a denial. And then we also are going to need valid government issued identification. Additional documents may be required: articles of incorporation or LLC docs by state, EIN, letter or tax ID certificate, so that SS4 you get from the IRS, a voided business check rather, is definitely going to be required specifically for same day funded loans. So your working capital, your merchant cash advance, things like that. The reason why they need that voided check is to verify that the funds are going to the right account. If people expect them to, have a lender turn around and send money into their account, they need in writing, printed out, an actual check so they can make sure they're sending it to the right account. So the next day, the guy's like, hey, yeah, I got this funding notice, but there's no money in my bank account. Oh, it got sent to the wrong bank. It's not an issue that the lenders really enjoy having. So very important. Driver's license, obviously, it cannot be expired. I cannot tell you how many times we have seen a driver's license come in and it is expired, and then people are upset that their loan has blown out in verification. Utility bill or lease agreement, proof of address, that one is a no-brainer. Real estate loans, what's required? Again, depending on the type, but obviously we're going to need the property address and description, the purchase contract, the scope of work or budget for fix and flip and construction, an appraisal. You don't need to know all of this. You don't. But all of this information can be found in the Bolt Funding Guide in your back office. Knowledge truly is power. The key to being successful as a Bolt funding partner is just being able to talk about it. And it's very simple to have that conversation. What do? I sell money. If you tell someone that you sell money and they begin to apply with you, they are not truthfully going to give a rat's. They're not going to give a rip what documents they need on a specific type of loan while you're having that conversation with them. Keep it light and let them know, hey, yeah, I sell money. Our platform is built to ensure that we look at all different angles. Tell me how much you want and what the use of funds are for, and then I'll come back to you, and then we'll talk documents that we need, right? All I need from you now is 3 months bank statements. 3 months bank statements, right? All of this information that's on the screen, the appraisal and the rent roll and lease agreements for DSCR, stuff like that, all that information is going to be asked of your client by Bolt agents. Keep it simple, right? Tax returns, profit and loss, balance sheet. Again, it's good to know if you want to know it. Depends on how deep you want to go into, having all of this information in your arsenal. But here it is for you, right? We're going to need balance sheet and business debt schedules. Helpful tips, please, when you're doing uploads of documents, ensure that they're legible PDFs. Screenshots typically do not fly. I know it's difficult to get somebody to actually go onto their internet banking and download actual PDFs, but we cannot take 30 screenshots of recent transactions from Chime or Cash App or even Bank of America. It just does not fly. And then we'll let you know what's missing if anything is unclear. So how to get more deals funded, guys. This is the bread and butter. This is the good stuff here, okay? Set expectations with your clients early. Let them know if they're saying, hey, specifically, yeah, I want to buy a new business. And I think I might want to get an SBA loan. Okay, great. I can help you with that. Again, what do I do for a living? I sell money. Well, I need it in like the next 4 days. It's not going to happen. If they need cash now, we're going to go revenue-based or SLOC if the credit qualifies, okay? And then we can help the clients understand the trade-off between cost versus speed. If you're going to get the money sooner, it's going to be more expensive. Why? Because it's higher risk. It's not fully underwritten. So it's important to have these conversations. This is what you really need to know. Don't worry about the documents. Again, we're going to teach you and we're going to show you here so you understand the process, but you don't have to remember all those documents. Just remember that if you're going to get the money faster, it's going to be more expensive money. Point blank and simple. Okay. Now there's 3 early qualifications that I would have before you even get into this slide on how to submit a complete application. If they got good credit, sorry, it looks like Amazon's here. I don't know if you guys heard my dog in the background. If they have good credit, great. If they have revenue, great. If they have bad credit, fine. If they have no revenue, fine. If they have both good credit and good revenue, that's a home run. If they have no revenue and no credit, that is a membership client. There are too many applications where people are just kind of like, yep, hey, I know you want to start a business and I know that you got that 500 score. Let's submit and see what happens. Nothing's going to happen, guys. Okay, the minimum expectation is they need to have revenue or credit, one of the two. If they have one of the two, throw them in. Let's have the conversation. Let's get through goal number 1, which goal number 1 is what? Get them approved for the max amount that they qualify for right now. Okay. Biggest delay that we have is missing documents or just bad applications where it's like the guy's got bad credit. He's been in business 2 weeks. That is not a funding client. That is a BCA client. That is a membership client that we could help put him in position. So credit or revenue, either one of them, let's go, good to go. If they don't have either one, get them into a membership. Easiest way to remember it. And again, that's what this pre-screening your clients is all about. My allergies are killing me, guys. I apologize if it sounds like I'm underwater. So let's talk about some pro tips for faster approvals, okay? Business has to be verifiable online. So if you've been in the Business Credit Academy, there's an entire module called what? NAP. NAP stands for, anybody want to put in the chat? Anybody know what NAP stands for? Let's talk about it. All right. Name, address, and phone number, guys. Name, address, and phone number. So those are pro tips for faster approvals. I know we went a little bit over right now, guys. Let's hop out of here. I think you guys all have a lot of opportunity out there. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I know there's an 8 o'clock call that we're 10 minutes over. I do apologize for whoever's leading that. And enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Take care.